Welcome to the OpenY Radio Show. Craig Polnock, over to you.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. Sorry that that GoToMeeting is being a little bit finicky with cameras and not letting us share our cameras, but I will go ahead and share my screen in a moment and hopefully that works. And so let's give me a try here, share my screen. Excuse me. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, making progress. And progress is what we want. So let's jump on in. This is the final time that the OpenY core team will be presenting this OpenY Association call. It's been an awesome ride and a fun journey, but these calls will start to be held monthly by our friends over at YUSA, and we're going to get into that in a moment here. But we're super excited to have all of you with us today, and so we're going to jump on in. I'm just going to turn on chat on my screen so I can see who's talking. Awesome. So our agenda for today is we're going to talk about the next steps. We're going to talk about a little bit of the future of OpenY, or of what it is that you can do with your OpenY site with Drupal, Layout Builder, Design System, some of the cool tools that are out there, and some of the things that we've been doing over at YMCA of the North. While we've been unable to work on some of the OpenY core beyond just the maintenance perspective, we have been doing some stuff, some pretty cool stuff with Drupal, excuse me, and some of our partners, and we'd like to share that with you so you can see potentially what the future might hold. And then we'll end with a note of gratitude. So moving on in. So the first thing we want to talk about is just the next steps. So what is the future of the OpenY code distribution? If you've been with us for a while, there shouldn't be any surprises that we're going to talk about today, but we just want to go through them and make sure that we're answering any questions. There are representatives from YUSA here today that are able to answer questions. What does this mean for you, etc. So first, let's start with our understanding of YUSA's goals. This is what we understand from YUSA after having a bunch of conversations with them. They've engaged with the OpenY community, OpenY ambassadors. They've presented a few times on this call. And here's what we understand YUSA's goals to be. The first is to maintain the positive aspects of the OpenY community and the code, as they believe that there's value in the code and in what we've collectively created as a community. We also understand that YUSA seeks to partner with existing OpenY ambassadors and OpenY partners to maintain that digital momentum that we've started. We understand that YUSA wants to keep the code open source as they see benefits that this brings to the broader community, and we believe that YUSA wants to foster a culture of working together and the philosophy of sharing, which has really been the cornerstone and foundational for OpenY. And so based on those goals, here's what we understand to see as in scope and out of scope at a pretty high level. So what's in scope with this transition, with the migration, is that YUSA is going to make a copy of the current OpenY code. YUSA will rename that OpenY code to something. It could be OpenY Cloud, OpenYUSA, OpenY by YUSA, but it'll be some just variation of OpenY. The reason for that is that OpenY LLC is a subsidiary of YMCA of the North, and because it's open source, the code can be copied immediately and the code can be shared immediately. But if we want to get into calling it exactly the same thing that is a trademark of OpenY LLC, then you got to get lawyers involved and all sorts of stuff. And that would just slow everything down without really any benefit when there's already a mechanism through the GPL3 license and through it being open source. There's already a mechanism for OpenY or for YUSA to move forward with the code today by just doing a simple renaming of what the code is. YUSA will then make that new version of the OpenY code available to download. I see Tom Gardner posting in chat that it'll be yCloud OpenY, and that sounds like a perfect name to me. And so that would be the name moving forward. YUSA then would work with agency partners on enhancements to that code, and YUSA will then be responsible for maintaining the community. What's out of scope would be, as we talked about, any assets of the OpenY LLC being transferred to YUSA. Again, the distribution code, the code itself, that's open source, that can be copied at any time. This is really things like the tool sets, the things kind of behind the scenes, the infrastructure, servers, things of that nature. Those aren't being transferred over. YUSA would be setting up their own infrastructure to maintain and manage things moving forward. We are in direct contact with YUSA to help guide them through that process if they need or want our help. But the assets themselves aren't being transferred. Again, the code can be copied right away. Other assets would be like our Slack channel or our message board. However, we're going to keep those online for people to still maintain or to access if needed. But we would encourage people, we'll get to this in a moment, we would encourage people to start moving over to YUSA's tools for communication and collaboration moving forward. So what exactly are the next steps? Excuse me. So prior to June 1st, YUSA will make a copy, or what's sometimes known as a fork in the developer community, of the current OpenY code. And that would be hosted and made available within YUSA's own repository, exactly like how OpenY, or very similar to how OpenY code is hosted today. YUSA will likely then enter into development agreements with agency partners, very similar again to how the OpenY core team operated. On June 1st, the OpenY code distribution, which today is at github.com/YMCA Twin Cities/OpenY, that will stop receiving regular updates. However, we'll keep it online as a read-only access for the foreseeable future. So if people want to get the old code, or if people want to access it for reference, anything like that, we'll keep it there as an archive that people can reference. And we will add messaging to that GitHub repository as well as openY.org with links to YUSA's code and YUSA's tools for collaboration and communication once we have those. And after June 1st, YUSA will then begin hosting a monthly call that's on the same day and time as this call that you're all on right now. And again, it's to provide updates and engagement. The OpenY community, we would encourage folks to self-migrate from the current messaging tools that we have, the OpenY Slack, the message board, YouTube, to new versions of those tools that will be hosted by YUSA. Details will be shared with YUSA in the coming weeks. For any questions on the future of OpenY code at YUSA, questions about those messaging tools, etc., for sure reach out to folks that you've come to know over the last several months, and that's Jay Chuhan and Tom Gardner at ymca.net. So what should you do? Those of you that have OpenY sites, those of you that are agency partners, developers in the community, what should you do? So how are you impacted? If you're a Y association that's already using OpenY, you shouldn't really experience any significant changes as a result of this. At the end of the day, OpenY is built on top of Drupal, and you still have a Drupal site. You can update to the latest versions of Drupal at any time. And again, Drupal is at the core of OpenY. You own your code. Your site is not being turned off. You're not being shut down as a result of this. This is where future updates to the code could come from, but it's nothing to do with how your site operates today. And again, if you decide, you know what, I just want to do my own thing, and I don't want to use this new code base, again, you could use Drupal as is. You could take updates from the Drupal core, which is at drupal.org, for the indefinite future, for as long as you'd like. There are millions of websites that are out there just solely powered by Drupal that don't have a distribution like OpenY to turn to. That's certainly an option for you. However, what we would recommend is before June 1st, connect with your agency partner, ensure that they're aware of this timeline. And your agency partner at that point should then start to use the new YUSA version of the OpenY code on or after June 1st for future updates to your site. But again, that's not required. And the reason why I say that's not required is, again, if you decide, it's all about choice and options. If you decide that, you know what, you just want to do your own thing, you still have a Drupal site, you can still get Drupal updates at any time as those are released by the Drupal community. Or if you want the future of OpenY code and those updates, that's where you'd want to start using the YUSA version of OpenY code. And so with that, I'm going to pause and see. I haven't seen too many questions come into chat, but I'll pause for a moment to see if there's any questions. And if there's not, and again, hopefully this is pretty self-explanatory. We've talked about this for a few months now, going back to, I think it was around October last year when we started talking about some of these changes, but now a little bit more things are coming to light. So we just want to make sure you're all aware. and I'm not seeing anything come in, and so that's good. Hopefully that means that everybody's been well informed and has a pretty good idea of what to expect in the future. And again, more will be shared by YUSA, by our friend Tom Gardner and his team in the near future. Steph has come in with a question asking, mostly just to put it out there, can we assume that most of the main developers are aware of this timeline? As far as I'm aware, yes, this timeline has been shared verbally, and I don't know if anything has been shared in writing, but I've been on many calls with folks at ImageX, with 5jars, with IT Care about this timeline. We've been talking about it for at least a few months now. So I believe everybody at ImageX, 5jars, and IT Care should be aware. One Each was on a partner call that we had about a month ago. I'm pretty sure we shared the timeline then. So One Each should be aware. So I'm pretty sure everybody has. And as Tom noted here, YUSA has also been in touch with the partners. So I believe everybody's aware of this timeline. That said, always a good idea just to assume that nobody knows anything, right? Assume that it's a good idea just to reach out to your partners and just say, hey, just touching base. You aware that on June 1, the code is going to be managed and maintained by YUSA for future OpenY code updates, and hopefully your agency partner says, yep, we're aware. If they say that they're not aware, that's when you'll want to engage with them, talk to them, connect them with Tom and with Jay for next steps at that point. But yes, as far as we're aware, most of the main developers have been made aware of this timeline. All right. So with that, we actually have Ben Mccoy with us today, who I'm pretty excited about. So for those of you who've been around for a while, know Ben was the original creative director for OpenY. Ben and Mario, everybody's like jumping in and chat with Ben. I'm excited that he's here too. So Ben has transitioned over to YMCA of the North as of the end of last year. Once the funding model changed for OpenY, YMCA of the North had a need for somebody with Ben's skill set. So Ben moved over to YMCA of the North. The good, exciting part about that is Ben's actually been hard at work on the design system, on the layout builder. If you've been with us for a few years now, you heard us talking about some of the things of what the future could hold for OpenY going back to 2019, 2020. Again, some of the design system stuff, some of the layout builder stuff, potentially moving away from paragraphs. We had been calling that, laying the foundation for what could have been an OpenY 3.0. What I'm excited to tell you today is that work didn't stop. That work continued. That work just continued over at Y of the North and was funded by Y of the North. And it's all built within Drupal. And our intent today is to talk a little bit about it, to show you kind of what we've been working on. And the good news is all of the agency partners that YUSA is working with, 5jars, ImageX, IT Care, all of them are familiar with what we've been working on. All of them are familiar with what we're about to show you today. So if you're in a situation where you need a refresh for your site, or maybe something visual, or maybe you're looking for some changes to how you're managing your content, a lot of what you're seeing today, you could work with those agency partners and they could get you going pretty quick with something similar using some of these tools. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to go over and find Ben and make him a presenter so that he can share his screen and show you some of the stuff that we're working on, just to give you a peek of what the future could hold. So Ben, you should be a presenter now.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Like Craig said, we've got some exciting stuff to show you. Before I kick off, I want to apologize for the background noise behind me. We're actually having our attic re-insulated, and they decided to start blowing it right before we started this meeting. So what I want to show you, though, is, as Craig noted, we've been doing some exciting work specifically around Layout Builder, but working on the Y North side using Layout Builder in conjunction with the design system, and actually a new theme we've also built to kind of support all of this. So what I'm going to do is just kind of give you a walkthrough of what some of the pages look like, and then I'm going to kind of just give you a real brief overview of Layout Builder so that you can see how it works, because what's been really beautiful about Layout Builder, and as you can kind of see here, what we're doing is we're setting up very nice, clean, simple pages. We're able to do a lot of different column layouts and a lot of adjustments. Layout Builder has allowed us to not only create and manage these pages more easily, but what's really compelling is it allows us to do it visually in more of a drag and drop interface. And so this sets us up not only for a lot of good potential just to make it easier to know what you're doing, but it will save time for our administrators. And we're actually now that we've got landing pages, static landing pages mostly worked out, we're also now moving into dynamic content elements so that we could use a lot of these same tools for things like events calendars and things of that nature. So just as kind of a high point introduction, this is the home page of the new adventure experience we're working through. We launched a version of this a few months back, and it was really well received. At Y North, we have really complex outdoor adventures, camps, and we've also acquired a group that we refer to as the Adventure Lab, who is actually putting on outdoor events that will tie into this. So in this example, rather than trying to do all of that within the main website, we're experimenting with a sub-site solution. And as you can see, what this allows us to do is figure out how we can make sure that we're calling attention to these specific program areas without having to compete with all of the other wonderful stuff that YMCAs do and YMCA of the North does. So what I'm kind of just showing you real quick, I'm going to go back to the home page, is before we get into some of the details, what's really been cool about this is that all of this stuff, well, excuse me, I'm just going to jump out of here, is mobile responsive. So obviously it works across devices, it looks great on phones. We have multiple different breakpoints, so all of the grid systems that underlie this are all based on Bootstrap, which is very consistent with what we were doing at OpenY. So all of this is built on a lot of the fundamentals and assumptions that we developed as we were working on OpenY projects. But what's really compelling about this is then how it's managed. So as I go through here, I'm just going to show you, we can come to an experience page where we can then provide greater visibility to all of the different things you can do at our adventure centers. If you know day camp is your thing, we can create really compelling landing pages for our day camp experiences that provide a really good brochure that help parents understand all of the wonderful things that you can do at our day camps. And then once you get to the bottom of this, you can see here are all the different locations that support this programming. So we've also created locations pages which help to then exemplify or help each location kind of showcase what makes it unique. Clear paths to registration, clear links to related content that's relevant, the ability to do some storytelling with videos and other content, summaries of what's available at summer camp, the ability to register for this location there, day camp handbooks for more information, how we're tying in seasonal adventures, all of these sorts of things we can now customize as we need for the location, for the experience, and we can build these pages much more easily. So to give you kind of a sense of what the administration experience looks like, this is the page that we were just looking at. And as you can see, within Layout Builder, within Drupal, I have a new tab called Layout. So when I click on this, now I can visually see the content that I'm managing, how it's broken down on a page. I can add new sections, I can add new blocks, I can easily move things around if I want to reorder content, and then that will be saved. If I want to come in here, let's say I scroll down here, I've got this section set up as a 2/3, 1/3 grid. If I wanted to make that 50-50, I can just come in here. I have this broken down by all of my breakpoints, so I can just change these to 50-50. And let's say if I wanted to change the background, maybe I don't want an image there, but maybe I want it to just be black, I can do that. And now what I'm going to see is that change instantly here. And then I can even confirm in here how it all starts to kind of break down before I hit save and before I commit to it. Likewise, if I want to put content between this button and this section, it's really as easy as going in, selecting what layout I want, determining how I want that to break down in breakpoints. I can then go in, determine what background I want, set that up, and then within here, anytime I want to add a new block, I simply click on a block, choose the block that I'm interested in adding, and then within here, I have all of these great controls that allow me to format things. And so this is where the design system comes in. We've now started to define and redefine what blocks we're using so that rather than having this huge library of all these different assets, we're trying to consolidate those as much as possible and then make each one as flexible as possible. So an example of that is you'll see image and image gallery. Well, it could be moving forward that our image gallery just replaces image altogether, because if you only have one image in the gallery, it would display like an image. And so what we're trying to do is not only build this stuff faster, but build it smarter so that we're making the management experience as easy as possible, so that when we bring in new talent and new people, not only are the pages going to be easy to manage, we're going to basically be able to make sure that they're always brand compliant. And then we're also giving all of those administrators a lot of flexibility within here to make changes as needed. So like I said, it's really exciting. It gives us a lot of flexibility when it comes to creating and managing pages, changing where elements go. And we really hope this is going to be a game changer for our association, not only from a management standpoint, but also as we try to experiment with new programs and services. Hopefully this will make it easier for us to create those web experiences, learn from them, figure out what works and what doesn't, and then as we need to make more custom investments into tool sets and things that Layout Builder can't do, we're able to do that in an educated fashion. So that at a high point is what I was hoping to show you today, and I would be happy to kind of stay on and answer questions if anybody has them, or if you like, you know how to get a hold of me, so I'd be happy to talk to you too. So thank you.
Thanks, Ben, for sharing that. This is awesome. There's a lot of excitement in the chat. So a couple questions were like on ETA and when is this coming? And so I was mentioning in chat, and I'll mention it here as well. Also, people are saying that this is great, Ben, so kudos to you. What I mentioned in chat was that all of our agency partners, ImageX, 5Jars, IT Care, they're all familiar with everything that you're seeing here. So what you're seeing here is really built on the foundation of Layout Builder, which is in Drupal 9. And if that's something that you like, if you're really liking what you're seeing from Ben, but remember, you can make customizations working with your partners to make it really tweaked the way that you want to see it. If that's something that you like, just reach out to any one of those partners, either if you're already working with one of them, if you're already working with a pretty skilled Drupal shop, you can work with them as well. But we've been able to get all of what you see here to work alongside our existing pages. Now that's really important, because if you were to go to ymcanorth.org/adventure, you would see everything that Ben is showing to you. So this is in our production environment right now. Why that's important is it means that we can take a quote unquote lazy migration approach to this, meaning that that Ben can start working through the site page by page or section by section, migrating the content over, and then as he's ready, activate those pages and sunset some of the old pages of the old content. You don't have to do a big bang, massive launch, six-figure type project. You can get started pretty small, and then with you and your team, just start to work on migrating the content. Because as you saw, what really is the magic here is the content tools. Being able to set the columns, the widths, drag and drop the content, that's really where the magic comes in. And so again, ImageX, they've got loads of experience with Layout Builder. They've actually contributed quite a bit of code into the Drupal core related to Layout Builder. 5Jars, they are the developers that Ben has been working with for the last gosh, it's been almost a year now on this, but for sure the last 6 months. Ben's been working with 5jars to really enhance it to what you see here. And then IT Care helped us to further make enhancements, to make adjustments, tweaks, modifications, improvements to the code base as they were bringing it into the Y North production environment. So again, all of the partners are pretty familiar with this. If you're liking this, the keywords to use are, I want layout builder. If you explain that to them, that's a good way to get started. But Ben, thank you for sharing this. And as you can see, as Ben's clicking around, like you can see how massive of a step up this is from more of a conceptual content management system like we have today. Any more questions on that or anything else that you'd like to see before Ben kicks it back over to me? Awesome. Just praise from Mario. We're doing our best indeed. And yeah, I mean, and again, the code is all part of the Drupal core. We've certainly made tweaks to it, customizations for ourselves, and we'll make sure that any agency partner that we're working with has access to that. If YUSA wants that code, we're happy to give it to them as well. Same thing, right? Like we want to make this all open source. It is all open source. We want to share it out. We believe in the community. So with that, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. I will take you through the finale here. So, and finally, just want to say that none of us got to where we are alone. Whether the assistance we received was obvious or subtle, acknowledging someone's help is a big part of understanding the importance of saying thank you. And so the OpenY core team, we didn't do this alone. We've done this work with all of you. And so I just wanted to say, on behalf of the entire OpenY core team, on behalf of everybody we work with and everybody we've worked with and alongside of, just wanted to say thank you. It's been a pretty awesome journey. We're not going away. We're going to keep, working with YUSA. We're going to stay part of the community. We're excited. I mean, you could see the stuff that Ben was sharing. We're excited about the future of Drupal. We're excited to keep working with you, of sharing things. That's really what we want you all to keep doing. It was important to talk about what YUSA's goals are, right? Because they are interested in keeping the idea and the concept of sharing going, the philosophy of sharing, the community, all of that's really the core of what made OpenY special. You are all of what made OpenY special. Couldn't have done it without all of you. We're super excited about what the future holds, super excited about what Ben showed you today, and just thank you. Just really thank you to all of you. And so with that, that's all we have today. And we're excited to, Mario, I'm not crying, you're crying. Thank you so much for all the kind words in the chat. Thank you so much for the support, everybody in the community. We couldn't have done it without you. Super happy to be part of this community. And just, again, thank you. It looks like Tom has a comment. Tom, do I need to make you a presenter, or are you able to just talk? Let me go in here and make you presenter just to make sure.
Yeah, I don't need to.
Okay.
And I was just going to share a couple thoughts.
Yeah, that'd be great.
For starters, thank you, Craig, for your summary. And I'm now fully confident that I communicated well that day, because you got it all right. Very awesome. Well said. And I like the outline you provided. So thank you for that. Thanks for the demo. It is, I would agree, some excellent work and a good example of the road forward, the path forward, the great things about OpenY that we want to continue doing. So thanks for that demo, Ben. Awesome job with that work. Some things to look forward to this month. I'll be inviting the board later this month to join me in a steering committee meeting. I want to keep the board alive, and that steering committee will advise Jay and I on direction for the platform. So I look forward to that. Board members look forward to that invitation soon. And then next month, as Craig, as Craig described, we will be meeting again. Jay and I will send an invite out. Look for a Teams meeting. We're going to shift to Teams. And on behalf of YUSA, Craig, core team, Awesome work. Great job on behalf of the Y. To the community, this platform that you have created is outstanding work, and we look forward to carrying on and helping it to continue to grow in the spirit and the tradition with which it was founded. And you've given us a great start, and I look forward to working together as an open source community and continuing on with this good work.
Thank you so much, Tom. Yes, we are excited to see what the future holds and to keep working together with you and everybody else in the community as well. And so with that, any last questions or comments from anybody? Either for me, for Tom, for Ben, and if not, that's okay. It's been nice just seeing the chat flow by with all of the very kind words. And again, thank you so much, everybody. This is it's OpenY is a team sport, and digital is a team sport, and we're super excited to work with all of you. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with all of you, and we're, like I said, excited what the future holds. Yeah, I agree, Andre. It's kind of a bummer that the cameras just don't seem to be working with GoToMeeting today, but is what it is. Maybe that's for the best. Nobody's seeing any crying today or anything like that. We're just hearing smiles and happy voices. So indeed. Well, with that, thank you so much, everybody. Amber, any final words from you?
Oh God, Craig, I knew you were gonna do that.
Handing it back to Amber.
You caught me like, yeah, Mario, I'm not crying, you're crying. It has been such a wonderful journey, everybody. I was actually kind of chuckling thinking of Casey Kasem's sign off on America's Top 40. For those of you that are a little older like myself, it has just been lovely getting to know you all, and I'm just awed by everything that Ys around the country are doing, and across the border up in Canada as well. So keep doing what you're doing, and I will sign off with Casey Kasem. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.